Hi, welcome to Dave's Desk. This is another great interview, a chance to meet someone whose face you might recognise, but you might not know why until we remind you. You see, Claire Young first catapulted herself to fame as a very, very effective person on The Apprentice, one of the early Apprentice shows. And since then, she's gone on to work alongside Alan Sugar, then started her own businesses. One in particular is one that I work with Claire in as one of her suppliers, which is an agency providing speakers to schools in the education sector. So we're going to try and get inside Claire Young's head because she's really good at it. So Claire, welcome.
Thank you, Dave's desk. Simple, busy desk. We all seem to spend a lot of time at our desks at the moment.
And I've got a new desk. I've got one of those lifty uppy, stand uppy desks, and I'm loving it, loving it. So
sounds fancy.
So let's start. Try and give people some real value here, and pick your brains if I may. Why did you become an education speaker agent?
So in 2008, I took part in The Apprentice on TV, reached the final. And after that experience, I remember logging into my website. And in those days, all those years ago, not many people had their own websites. I had claireyoung.co.uk built. And I remember logging on and thinking, I wonder if I've had any messages. And after, I think, 11 million people watched The Apprentice, I had hundreds of messages and lots of messages from schools asking me to go in and speak to students. Now, I'd never been back into my school since I left my school in Wakefield all those years ago. And it was a bit alien to me. I think when you leave education, you quickly almost forget about school. But I wouldn't be who I am without my upbringing in the school I went to. It really is fundamental to, it shaped me to who I am. And I still remember the first school I went into. I think it's renamed now, but it was called Unity College in Blackpool. I'm still in contact with the team who booked me and asked me to go in. And I said, what do you want me to do? They said, we'd just like you to come in and speak to the teenage girls in particular as a role model. That phrase, again, is used often in today's media and press. But the words role model, they said just lots of our girls don't have anybody at home who works. Their aspiration is to be a teen pregnancy. And actually meeting a young, vibrant woman who they can relate to, who is pretty straight talking and very normal, so to speak, is they would never come into contact with those type of people in their everyday life.
Right.
And I remember leaving the school with the buzz, as I call it. It's the reason why probably lots of teachers and people do their jobs. You have that job satisfaction where you hopefully are making a difference. And I remember thinking, I just want to do a bit more of that. And here I am, 10 years later, sat in my office with an agency where it's not just me, but we have 400 speakers who go into talk and do talks, schools, colleges, primary, secondaries, PRUs, prisons, anybody with young people. And this is what I do.
And so if there was a label you'd put on the content you deliver as other than sort of role model, aspirational, inspirational, what's your area of expertise that you speak on, be it education or business?
I think it's life lessons. I mean, a lot of it is raising aspiration. We work with a lot of deprived schools where they do want positive role models and that spark of motivation, as opposed to having to flog young people to work. If we all know that if your motivation is high, you will get off your backside and you will work. So we hope that our speakers will educate them about life lessons. And really popular topics we're having at the moment is mental health, well-being, resilience, addiction. Really, obviously, it's really important what you learn in a classroom, the academics, but school education isn't just about that. It is about preparing them for the real world and preparing them for life. And hopefully our speakers will go in and give them an hour's snapshot of delivering content, which is really valuable to them.
Fantastic. And so in a psychological sense, I'm asking you a weird question here, I know, but how do speakers serve students, especially in today's society? What is it we give them?
I think a speaker, it might sound really cheesy, but can literally change young people's lives, not necessarily just young people. We have lots of speakers who will go in And the school afters will say, my students enjoyed that, but my staff really enjoyed it. We can have a speaker who goes into a school and can literally transform the environment from being maybe quite negative, a bit down in the dumps, to really boosting morale. I always think a good speaker is somebody who leaves at least 3 lasting messages, takeaway messages, which you will use in everyday life, school life, as you go about to become better student, better at your job.
Wonderful. And how does a school get value out of coming to someone like yourself? And please, I don't mean this to sound in any way demeaning, but the one-stop shop, as opposed to spending, other than the obvious time saving of trawling the internet, interviewing hundreds of speakers. What are the measurable benefits to a school or a college or a university coming to someone like you, Claire?
Well, I think the first thing you just mentioned is time. And one of the light bulb moment I had when starting this business was seeing a friend who was a deputy head, desk covered in papers, trying to find a scrappy piece of paper about a speaker. They couldn't find it. She was pulling her hair out. Teachers don't have time. They don't have time to be searching. And when people come to us, they know that there's a real life person at the end of the phone who can guide them and handhold them, because lots of schools might not have had a speaker in before. We get phone calls every day. It might be a new experience, so we can advise them who the best. I'm a matchmaker. I find the right speaker for the right school, for the right objective and the right budget. And it's having that reassurance that all the people who are booked with us have been, it's almost credit checked, that we know that they are school checked, that they are experienced with a student audience. There are a million speakers out there who can deliver to an adult audience, but I don't think there's that many speakers who can deliver to young people and captivate young people and relate to them. So when you book in with school speakers, it is the convenience factor, and we are really good at getting the job done for them. There are lots of speakers who are very good at speaking, but not very good at admin. People ask me what I do for a living. I'm a nagger. That's all I do. I nag people. I complete things. And we turn around speaking jobs in a day. So if a school has that horrible moment where somebody is late, really late, they're stuck on a motorway, or somebody's ill. We had an event at 11 o'clock at night who rang us for a speech day the next day. We have got the capacity to turn things around very quickly.
So you call yourself a matchmaker. So basically, you're the Cilla Black of the education speaking industry.
That's me. That is me.
Actually, I've just aged myself, haven't I? Because no one will remember blind date under the age of 40, will they? So
I'm the Paddy McGuinness.
So Claire, at the risk of perhaps giving away some of your secrets, only give away what you can and want to, but a teacher listening to this or watching this, or indeed a business booker, what are the big things they should be looking for in terms of characteristics, skills, experience, credentials, social proof? How do they know if they're getting a good speaker? What are the key signs you look for in a good speaker?
We have a very robust vetting process because we've been running the business for 10 years. We know we've got a very strong filtering out system. So we ask for a minimum 3 references, testimonials, where real life testimonials, where we can ring up and speak to a school about a speaker to know that they are experienced, they are good. From my point of view, sat at this desk, I look for a professional code of conduct, somebody who returns phone calls, returns emails, is speaking. For me, there's 2 parts of the job. There is actually turning up and speaking and being an excellent speaker, but there is the contact before, the middle, the afterwards. So as a teacher, you should feel really confident from the minute you exchange with an individual as a speaker that that person is going to turn up, be professional, because ultimately I think as a teacher, when you book a speaker, that is a reflection on you. You want the speaker to come in and do a really great job. And a speaker's got to know their subject inside out. And for schools, I've said it so many times, they've got to be relatable to young people. You don't have a luxury of a 10-minute warm-up introduction. You have got to captivate them from the minute they start speaking. So as a teacher booking, they are the things which I would be looking for. And if you don't feel confident that the speaker's engaging with you, if you don't feel confident with them on screen or on the telephone, don't book them to come in.
And another thing, of course, is how many years they've been doing it as well, because in the education industry, even more so than industry, I find that there's a lot of speakers who they're here today, but they've gone tomorrow. Maybe because, as you've said, they're either good at admin but not speaking, or good at speaking but not their admin. And the people who are professional, they get found out very quickly. Um, so so yeah, I agree with everything you're saying there, and it is about proving the credibility and the level of professionalism before you book them. And I even give Claire, I even give some teachers a tip sheet: 10 awkward questions to ask a speaker before you book them. And you know, if they say no to any of those questions, don't go anywhere near them with a barge pole. But by doing that, we're not actually doing a speaker a disservice, I think. Do you think? Because actually what we're saying is, come on guys, step up, let's raise the standards of our industry. What would your take on that be?
They need to be prepared, and often I feel that many speakers come into the market with lots of enthusiasm. It's great. You need lots of energy working with young people, as we know, but they almost see schools as a slightly easy option, whereas for me, they are the opposite. It is a tough job working in schools, tough audience. It is not the easy option. And you, as somebody who sits and watch lots of speakers, which I do try and see people, or I ask for video footage,
Yeah.
I think video footage is sometimes quite difficult, because if you are in a safeguarding environment, you might not be able to gain footage from a school. But it's clear to me when people are talking with passion, or when people are just putting it on, they're going through the process, they're clocking in, they're clocking out. And I think young people see straight through speakers who don't really want to be there. I always try and be in a school on a Friday. In normal life, I'm in my flow being in a school, a primary school, a secondary school, working with business students, enterprise, anything around careers, presenting. I thrive on it. It's what keeps me going. And still 10 years down the line, I still enjoy doing it.
Wonderful.
And you do?
Yeah. Do you know what? The first times I remember when I first started speaking professionally, I asked someone, how do you know if you're any good? And somebody, I found out later, jokingly said, if you survive an hour in a high school with teenagers, you're good. And I went, okay, because I was naive. And they tore me to shreds the first school I ever worked in. And I came out going, oh, I love that, doing that again. And now, even though it's potentially much lower paid than the business and corporate stuff I do, I love it, because it's not only about service, it is about the difference you make. And schools can be very, very loyal customers as well. So Claire,
Yeah.
I don't want to sponge you dry and abuse your time and your good nature, because you always step up whenever I ask for help. Can you leave us with two things? Number one, a top tip for a teacher booking a speaker, and number two, a top tip for a speaker looking to work in schools.
I'd say top tip for a teacher is do your research if you can, by dumping a name into social media, into the internet, and actually word of mouth. I think particularly for us teachers, it's the strongest form of marketing. Ask your colleagues who have they had in, who have they seen. But social media is a huge hub for the teacher market and speaker market. Following key teachers such as Tom Sherrington, Teacher Toolkit, they are fantastic. Andy Cope. There's so many amazing teachers and hashtags on Twitter, for example, where you'll be able to find out honest feedback about speakers. I think for a speaker going into a school, you know your market, know what the budgets are in schools, because it's very different to the corporate sector. Your talk will have to be tailored to young people. I know your customer, your teacher, is going to be working different hours. They probably won't get back to you in the daytime. They are very time limited, so things have got to be very succinct. Yeah, know your customer and know your market.
Awesome. So Claire, any teacher or education professional watching this who thinks, actually, let's stop hunting, let's just go straight to Claire, how can they get hold of you, mate?
We have lots of emails at office@schoolspeakers.co.uk, and we are sending out so many speakers at the moment, not just for students, but a lot for staff around resilience and please don't leave your job and stay teaching during homeschooling. It's a hard job for them, or the telephone, but our website is schoolspeakers.co.uk. And sometimes people are amazed when we pick up the phone or reply to emails. Of course we're going to do that. That's our job, to help you and make you find the right speaker.
You're a star. Thank you so much for your time. Love you to pieces, mate. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Then click the TV to watch the next video. Oh, and don't forget to visit our website at davidhyner.com to claim your free audiobook. Until the next time, go Rhino. Avenir.